Hello darlings, Marianne here with Past Life Healing. Today's download is how to find and identify your relationship block. Now a lot of people are long-term single, but they say they want to be in a relationship. I have a lot of friends like this, and it's just common. I'm just hearing it more and more, and it's quite sad to watch because there's a lot of great people out there and they say they want to be in relationships, but they just don't seem to ever be in one. So this is to help identify what are your relationship blocks. Let's identify the main one and start there. Okay, so I received this download yesterday, so I wanted to get the video out there as soon as I can, because I think this is going to be really helpful for people. Now, no judgment. If you're single and you love it, great, rock on, keep doing you. This is for people that really have this question, like, what is wrong? Why can't I stay in a relationship? Yada yada. Okay, so let's get started. Step one is identify what is your greatest fear about being in a relationship. Now just get still, you'll know it pretty fast. And this is when you just even think about being in a relationship, what does it bring up for you? And it'll be one of these, probably most common. These are the most common. It could be something else, but it'll be fear of intimacy, boredom, losing independence, fear of loving somebody and then losing them. And this is a past life issue often. Or maybe you lost a parent and you do not want to attach, so it's keeping you single out of fear. Okay, what else? Fear of losing, sort of your self-identity, or having to, sort of work for somebody else. Like it can be like that in some marriages. Or you've seen relationships like that and you think it's not a fair deal, it's not a fair partnership, or it's not something you want. But you want to be in a relationship. It doesn't mean you have to get married. It doesn't mean you have to sign up for the whole, horse and carriage and kids and everything. You can design your own life. You can, have a long-term partner without having to get married. You can, find somebody that you just see a couple of times a week and you have your own lives, your own places. I mean, write your script, write your story how you want. It doesn't matter what it looks like. You don't have to. Don't assume that marriage and kids and white picket fence is right for you. It may not. It may be your worst nightmare. And that's okay. It's great to be in 2018 because we can do whatever the heck we want pretty much, especially as women now. We have a lot more freedom and a lot more options. But anyway, I digress. I'm just encouraging you that do not feel the pressure, cultural pressure, family pressure to get married, to find somebody. It's nonsense. Do not break away from that, please. Be free of that. Do not let that dictate. You have to get clear about who you are and what you want for you, not for anybody else. And I know that's easier said than done. In some cultures, I'm breaking the law just about by even saying that. So, but I'm speaking in general terms. You have to do what's right and best for yourself. Okay, so step one is identifying the greatest fear about being in a relationship. I think I've covered the main ones, but I'm sure I'm missing some other great ones. So see what yours is. That's step one. Okay, you might want to write it down. Step two is, what is your greatest fear about not being in a relationship? And this is for anybody. You can be in a relationship or not and do this, and you might be surprised what you get. Okay, so fear around not being in a relationship may be what I just mentioned. Fear of letting down the family or disappointing the family with their expectations, or even the culture. There's a lot of pressure even in the culture to be validated by being in a relationship, that kind of nonsense. But anyway, let's not call it nonsense, I suppose. I should respect the system to some degree. Okay. Okay, what else could it be? It could be the most obvious one is fear of being alone. A lot of people, fear of dying alone. A lot of people have that. Fear of being isolated, fear of not having support, fear of having to deal with finances and life challenges alone. That's another big one. Just wanting a partner, to go through life with, afraid of having to do things, everything by yourself. Showing up to family gatherings, going through the holidays alone. Some people may actually be in relationships just to avoid that. And okay, I can kind of understand that. So these are the obvious ones about fear of being alone. Some people it's just physical safety, like for women. not wanting to live by themselves and having a man around just for a sense of physical security and safety. All right, so once you've identified that fear of your greatest fear in a relationship, now let's look at those side by side. Which fear is greater? And don't just go with your head, the first option. Really look at that and get honest about it. Is your fear greater about being in a relationship, or is it greater about not being in a relationship? And whatever fear is bigger is going to probably dictate whether you're in one or not right now. If you're in a relationship, you probably have more fear around being single. And I'm generalizing. You may just be happily in a relationship and fine to not be. Not everything has to be fear-based, but this is just a generalization. And the opposite may be true. If your greatest fear is around being in a relationship, or you've been married before and you do not want to ever feel trapped or like you lost yourself or whatever that is, then you may stay single and you may not want to be in a relationship. And you may have to overcome some of your buddies giving you pressure about it or questioning you all the time about your love life. And that's okay. Maybe get really clear in yourself, and have something ready to go, almost like a script that you can say, you know what, I'm actually really happy having the time of my life, or whatever feels authentic to you. You're able to do what you want when you want. I mean, there's a lot of pluses to being single. Okay, so just be in your truth. Be in your, what is right for you. Be in your alignment. That's what matters. It really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, as long as you're happy, as long as you're doing the best you can do. And I would just say this, be really clear about what you want, especially if you're young. If you're in your 20s, get really clear, especially before you bring children into this world, please. You better really think that through. It's cute to have a baby, but you're also going to have a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 15-year-old. So you've got to think things through. This is not something you can just go back on. It's a lot easier to get divorced than it is to get divorced with children or to break up in a relationship. So every step you take, it's harder and harder to get out of. So just consider that. Not to be a negative Nelly over here, but I'm lived a few minutes and I've seen a lot of things in my 47 years, and I did not sign up for a lot of that stuff. And I'm not calling children stuff, but I did not sign up for a lot of these big decisions that are hard to retract. I just knew that I did not want to be a stay-at-home mother, and I like being free, and I had a lot of lived around a lot of rules and a lot of sort of containment in my 20s, and I'm really enjoying having a lot more freedom, a lot more options in my 40s. So and I did not have children, just to be clear. I think I mentioned that. But anyway, I got married late at 35 and been married for 12 years. So I know what it's like to be single, long-term single, and I also know what it's like to be in a relationship. And I really do think I did more growth probably being in a relationship. You are forced to grow and face things and to heal together. So I would say find somebody that is willing to work on their stuff. That's huge. If you can find somebody that's willing to commit to working through stuff together, because all kinds of stuff is going to come up in a relationship. It's going to bring up your childhood, all kinds of good stuff. So great if you can find somebody that's just willing to plow through with you, because it's not easy. Being single is not easy, and being in a relationship is not easy. So welcome to life, welcome to earth. None of this is easy, but we are up to something. We are growing and evolving and waking up and going somewhere. Okay, so it's not just about getting the man, getting the girl, and all of that. It's your soul is up to much more than that. Okay, so if you have these blocks, any of these blocks, and you can't figure out where it's from, it doesn't make any sense based on your childhood, you may be a great candidate for a past life regression, especially fears around attaching to others, fears of intimacy. They can come from lifetimes of things just going really badly in relationships, or loving and losing is a big one. So yeah, maybe something you want to look into. But I'm not here to really pitch my my modality, but just something I've noticed. And I do a lot of work around relationships in what I do. So hope this has been helpful, identifying the block. Then of course, once you've found the block, you want to show a lot of respect for whatever that is. Get to know yourself, know that about yourself, and it'll help you navigate when you go into a relationship better, much better. Okay, I need to avoid these things. I cannot be with a controlling person, or I'm really clear about whether children are for me or not. Like, that's good to know, because it really changes who you're going to date. If you are not clear, it can really confuse things. So this is my 2 cents on the subject. Hope that's been helpful. And there's a lot more to say about once you've identified the fear, but first of all, respect it, give it a voice, know that's okay. And it's also not just a fear, but can be like a almost like a red flag, like don't go near that, like avoid that, or that's for your own safety or comfort level, is knowing that. And then other things just need to be blasted out, like bulldozed over. Like, okay, some of this family cultural pressure, please don't make decisions based on that, because you're living out of somebody else's idea of what's going to make you happy, and that never works. Okay, so hope that's helpful. I just wish you all the very best in love and in life, and I'll be talking to you soon. Okay, take care.